Welcome back to Decode Healthcare with Harshal. I am so pumped for today because we are officially stepping into Chapter 9, Diseases of the Circulatory System. This is Part 45 of our 100-part ICD-10-CM Guideline Explainer Series. Today, our absolute mission is conquering Section IC 9.A. We're going to master the automatic presumed causal link between hypertension, heart disease, and kidney disease.
Before we get into the weeds, let's establish our absolute authority. Forget what outdated textbooks might say, the CMS guidelines override everything, and their exact wording is our golden rule today. The guidelines literally state that the classification presumes a causal relationship between hypertension and heart involvement, and between hypertension and kidney involvement.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're covering the guideline authority, the presumed causal link, hypertensive heart disease, hypertensive CKD, the ultimate combination category, and we'll wrap it all up with secondary hypertension. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Section IC 9A, also known as the Presumed Causal Link Law. We really need to decode this unique rule because it sets hypertension apart from almost everything else in the ICD-10-CM universe.
There's actually a massive contrast between old coding habits and the absolute authority of the newest CMS guidelines. Back in the day, coders used to wait around for a physician to explicitly write the words due to in the chart. But the CMS guideline way, it's all about automatic linking. Because these conditions are linked by the word with in the alphabetic index, they're automatically presumed to be connected.
Think of hypertension as a super powerful magnet. ICD-10-CM automatically assumes a cause and effect relationship here. It pulls hypertension together with heart disease and chronic kidney disease, basically snapping them together into an automatic combination code. The provider doesn't even need to explicitly link them in their documentation.
Now, this automatic magnetic link applies every single time, but there is one solitary exception. The only time you break that magnet is if the provider clearly and explicitly documents that the conditions are completely unrelated. If they write that they are unrelated, then you code them separately. You'd report I-10 for the hypertension plus a totally distinct heart or kidney code. But otherwise, you let the magnet do the heavy lifting.
All right, moving on to our first combination category, hypertensive heart disease, which is category I-11.
This specific category kicks in when our hypertension magnet pulls in certain heart conditions, like heart failure or myocarditis, specifically those classified to I-50 or the I-51 subcategories.
And this brings us to the art of manifestation stacking. Your primary base code, which is category I-11 for the hypertensive heart disease, drops in first. But you're not done. It's followed immediately by your secondary support code from category I-50. That secondary code specifies the exact type of heart failure if it's present. So hypertension plus heart failure equals I-11.0, directly followed by your I-50 support code.
Next up is category I-12, hypertensive chronic kidney disease. We're shifting our focus from the heart over to the kidneys.
Just like with the heart, the codebook assumes that the hypertension and the CKD are intimately connected. If the patient has both, boom, they snap together right into category I-12.
Think of this as your formula for success. The I-12 code pairs directly with the N18 stage code to paint the full clinical picture. CKD stages 1 through 4 pair up with I-12.9, but pay close attention here. If a patient hits end-stage renal disease, meaning stage 5 or ESRD, your primary code shifts over to I-12.0. Let's think about how this stacking actually works on a claim form. Hypertension plus CKD stage 4 means I-12.9 drops right into slot 1. Then N18.4 locks in right beneath it as the secondary support code. The primary block defines the combo, and the secondary block defines the stage. Simple as that. Now, here's a fantastic coding scenario that honestly trips up a lot of novices. What happens when that hypertension magnet pulls in both the heart and the kidneys at the exact same time? That brings us to category I-13, the ultimate combination category.
When a patient has all three of these, hypertension, heart disease, and CKD, category I-13 becomes your primary magnetic block. The CMS guidelines are crystal clear here. Conditions included in I-11 and I-12 are bundled completely together into one powerful code in I-13.
Here's how this three-part manifestation stacking actually works. Hypertension plus heart failure plus CKD stage 4. This gives us one primary code block, I-13.0, dropping into place. Then, it's followed by two locking support codes, I50.9 for the heart failure, and N18.4 for the CKD stage. You absolutely have to code the complete clinical picture.
Let's pivot to secondary hypertension and etiology sequencing. We've totally mastered the presumed link, but now we need to tackle the main exception to these rules.
Unlike essential or primary hypertension, where the cause is usually kind of a mystery, secondary hypertension, found in category I15, means we know exactly what is causing the high blood pressure. It is directly caused by a separate underlying medical condition. Some of the most common underlying causes include renovascular disorders, like renal artery stenosis, or they could be endocrine disorders like a pheochromocytoma or other specified secondary renal diseases. Basically, these underlying conditions are the root trigger causing that blood pressure to spike.
Because of this, the crucial rule in etiology sequencing is that the underlying cause always leads. On your claim, slot number 1 has to go to the underlying etiology. So, for example, your renal artery stenosis code goes first. Then, in slot number 2, you put the secondary hypertension code from category I15. The cause comes first, and the secondary effect comes second, always.
Let's quickly wrap up this incredibly powerful section of Chapter 9.
At the end of the day, you have to trust your guidelines. You literally have a coder's superpower to let the presumed causal link automatically connect the dots for you. Don't sit around waiting for the physician to explicitly link them unless they specifically document that the conditions are unrelated. You just have to ask yourself, do you trust the guidelines enough to let the magnet work for you?
If you want to keep mastering these rules with us, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this explainer with your fellow coders. You won't want to miss part 46. We're going to dive straight into section IC9B, tackling atherosclerotic coronary artery disease, angina combination codes, and we'll be unlocking the complex rules of bypass graphs. Keep coding, keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.